All right. Well, again, this evening we are discussing all about injuries, and we've got a lot of email questions. And so we're going to get right to it. We're going to start with our question that comes from Della. And the question, how do lawyers decide how much your case should be worth? Thank you for your question, Della. And Laura Lilac, why don't you answer her?
Yeah, so first, I think an attorney would start with the actual damages, right? And so those are going to include things like the value of the medical care or treatment that you have received. That can also include the future treatment, though, that you might need to receive, but you haven't gotten yet. So you're entitled to past and future medical care, lost wages. If you were hurt and you had to miss work, you should be compensated for that time that you weren't able to bring a paycheck home. We talked in other shows about household services, right? So there could be other things that aren't actual damages that you see here in print, but things that have value to them, right? And we ask the jury to put a value on that. So if you've hurt your back and you can't pick up your child anymore, or you can't, do the things that you used to love to do, right? Cooking, or if you have to call somebody in to help clean your house, all of those things have a value to them. And then the typical thing that you all hear about is going to be pain and suffering, which again, there's no chart or magic list out there where we say this is how much your pain and suffering is worth. There's experts that we ask to put numbers on all of those things. But typically, we start with what are the actual damages? How much have your medical expenses been? And we take that number, we add that to any lost wages, and we come up with a number at that point. Ultimately, there's no science to it. I think the longer you do it as an attorney, the more, the better you get at it. But ultimately, we do have experts that we bring in on things. Rocky may have a different opinion or some more details on how he would value a case, though.
I think you're right about the categories that are used. The other thing that I look at is there's a book or a service that compiles all the reported jury verdicts in the state. And so, when I'm negotiating a case or when I'm evaluating a case, I can tell you, in this county, there have been 10 car wreck cases in the last 5 years, and the average verdict is $142,000. This case, while it may be different than some of them, it's similar to a few of them, and I think it's got more value than the average number. There are some counties in Mississippi where they have not tried any civil cases in the last 10 years. So there's no data. And so you have to go and create, the average or get a verdict in there. But they don't try as many civil cases as they used to. 9 out of 10 cases settle, but there's usually a reason why you try a case. Either the plaintiff wants way too much money that's out of line, or the defendant wants to pay way too little, or sometimes it's like a product liability or a pharmaceutical case where it's the first type case. But that's probably the additional thing from what Lorelei said that I would use to evaluate their case.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I would have never thought, obviously it does make sense, when you are talking about your research or whatever, but that was really good information about that, just how the value of cases and where you're getting your information. So that's really cool.
I promise you, the insurance companies know what the average verdict is in a county, because when I was an insurance defense lawyer, I had a chart. I knew which counties had more plaintiffs' verdicts than defense verdicts. I knew which counties were good defense counties. So they know that information, but a person who's been in one wreck in their lifetime may not know all that.